Yo people, Prawnfather here coming at you with yet another Vesteria guide. Today, I've got the best Berserker guide for you. As long as I've been playing Vesteria, I've been a Berserker man. And I'm here now to share my knowledge about Berserker with you guys. In this video, I'll be going over stats, skills, and gear. Now, let's start with the gear we'll be using. First, for the armor, use Aervul's Helm as well as his boots. These simply provide the best or highest stats for Berserker in the game. Now, the chest piece to use is the Gladiator Armor. Gladiator Armor allows us to deal a whopping 20% extra damage. The only withdrawal is that we take 20% extra damage, but you'll realize with this build that you'll be hitting fast enough to heal all the damage that we take back easily. Now, for weapons, crit chance is extremely important for a high DPS Berserker. While it may be sometimes hard to achieve, it is absolutely worth scrolling or the gold. For getting high crit chance, it is best to curse Azariah Edge or Cholla Blade. Now, these are the two best swords in the game to roll crit on Berserker, as they're not very expensive. And Ghostly Blade is. Now, in M1 builds, Ghostly Blade is often used, but it is extremely expensive and is not worth trying to get crit on unless you are rich. Because I mean, the 10% added attack speed is extremely good, as well as the extra slash. However, I think the combo of Azariah Edge and Cholla Blade is simply better. Now, for an M1 build, you either want to run Azariah Edge or Ghostly, and then you want to run a Cholla Blade. The reason you want to run a Cholla Blade is because of the ability modifier called Spiky Strike. It modifies your triple slash ability, and it means every third strike grows small spikes on the ground, hurting foes that walk across them. And pretty much this is just free DPS. I mean, it is massive for your DPS. However good Ghostly Blade is, I still toss it aside because getting high crit on Azariah Edge is just better and easier. Now, I encourage you trying to get a 10% crit Cholla Blade and a however high crit chance you can get on Azariah Edge, 10% being the minimum. The reason being is the higher your crit chance, the more your entire subclass is going to help itself. All right, now it's time that we talk about stat points. Now, you'll see that my stats don't look very typical for an M1 Berserker. Usually people say 150 dexterity, rest into strength for an M1 build. However, I say nay. You want 150 strength for the 10% damage bonus, which is extremely strong, and the rest into dexterity. Now, the reason being is with M1 builds, you want the highest attack speed possible, as well as extremely high crit chance. To add to that, we're using Cholla Blade, meaning every 3 slashes the ability activates and gives free DPS. So the more you abuse that, the better. The other reason we want to get our dex as high as possible is for the extra crit chance. The higher crit, the more adrenaline rush will activate, which we will talk about in a second. Now, for skills, double slash is the only important one. You can allocate the other points however you want. For the warrior book, you want to max your triple slash. Mine says Spiky Strike right now because I'm using Cholla Blade. And the other thing you want to max is combat roll. Now you can allocate again the other points however you'd like. I just have parry and spin slash. It really does not matter. Finally, let's talk about the Berserker book. First, and most importantly, Warrior Cry, Blood Cleave, and Adrenaline Rush. You want to max all of these. I would also max Ferocious Assault, and I just have 1 point in Headlong Dive because it can be a little movement thing. If you can see here, like it just moves you a little bit. And the reason that we want to max our Ferocious Assault is because it has a little more range than your normal attack. And say a boss knocks you back, you can hit it as you're running back towards, and then you can just sneak a little extra damage in. Now, let's go over these abilities right here. Starting with Warcry. This buffs your damage by 15% and your allies by 50. Now, if you're fighting a boss and you really want to get the highest damage, you might want to jump away from the group and then go back so you get more damage. But I mean, I think those types of berserkers are kind of hated on. Adrenaline Rush is a little more confusing. You drain your health and the buff starts. Made simple, every 14 instances you deal damage, you deal a bonus amount of damage. A single basic attack is equivalent to 1 instance, and a single ability damage is equivalent to 2 instances. However, if you crit, it is doubled. So if I crit with a basic attack, it counts as 2 instances. This is why we want high crit on our build, as well as extremely high attack speed. We want to cycle bonus damage from 14 instances as fast as possible. Now, let me break this down a little more. If we basic attack 14 times and none of them crit, our last attack, so the 14th attack, will deal 150% of the damage we would normally deal on that attack. So if I hit him for 1,000, we would deal 1,500 instead. Like I said, crit doubles this, and we'll be using Blood Cleave, which will count as ability instances. So we will be cycling this 150% damage extremely fast. Finally, let's talk about Blood Cleave. This one just deals extra damage while making us not stop our M1 attacks. I'll show you here. If I am M1ing and I use Blood Cleave, we don't stop our M1, right? If I'm M1ing and I use Ferocious Assault, we stop M1ing and then it takes a moment, so we lag a little bit before we start our next M1. Which is why we love Blood Cleave, because we're just attacking and it is literally extra damage. I'm gonna just show off my DPS with this build. So how I would recommend doing it is you pop Warcry, then you pop Adrenaline Rush, and then you jump into your fight and you use Blood Cleave. So say I'm fighting a boss right now, right before the boss spawns, I hit this, then I Adrenaline Rush, and then I start M1ing. And you will see my damage just go crazy. Now I'll just do this until my Adrenaline Rush runs out. And we get 29,500 DPS. So it's pretty nuts. This is what I'll call the Bronfather build. So please use this build. This build is the best for Berserker. I'm gonna roll some clips of me killing some super giant pirates and just getting absurd DPS. So like you can just like tell by the sheer amount of damage that's happening around just how much I'm actually doing. Alright, so we did 25%. Anyways, that is all for this build. I hope you guys took something from this. If you want to see more content like this in the future, please smash the like button and subscribe button. Comment if you have any suggestions or are in need of a certain tutorial. Anyways, I'm always happy to help, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.